Good afternoon, and welcome to the City Club of Cleveland. My name is Jim Foster, and I'm Executive Director of the City Club. Today, we are pleased to welcome Joel Ratner, President and Chief Executive Officer of Neighborhood Progress, Inc. Founded in 1988, NPI serves as a funding intermediary, bringing together community development corporations, local foundations, the business community, and government, and provides technical assistance to community development corporations. A Beechwood native, Mr. Ratner became President and CEO of Neighborhood Progress in 2011. Previous to this appointment, Ratner was the president of the Raymond John Ween Foundation in Warren, Ohio. At Ween, Mr. Ratner was instrumental in bringing together the development of East Gateway Community College and the Mahoning Valley Cooperative. He also co-chaired the Tech Belt Initiative, designed to bring together economic development efforts in Cleveland, Youngstown, and Pittsburgh. Since coming to NPI, Ratner has helped develop Cleveland's many community development corporations to continue evolving from small neighborhood groups into professional service organizations, receiving millions of dollars each year in foundation and city grants. Ratner's approach is to deal with the broader issues that matter most, like schools and safety, and to form a holistic strategy to grow neighborhoods from the inside out. NPI recently completed a strategic plan, and we are here today to learn about the new and revised role NPI will play in our community. On behalf of the City Club of Cleveland, I am very pleased to present Joel Ratner.
Thank you very much, Jim. I'm thrilled to be here today. It's a great honor to be at the City Club, a place where really many great speakers have been, and really one of the many gems of Cleveland. So thank you for inviting me here today. The crowd is really a testament to how many partners Neighborhood Progress has. So we're working with virtually every one of you in the room in some way. So this was really, we can get some work done. You all stay. We'll figure out our next programs after lunch. But it is a testament to what we do, but also to what you do with us together. So thank you so much for joining us. I want to briefly recognize some of our board members in the room today. Tom Coyne is with us, Linda Kane, Byron White, and Colleen Gilson. Thank you for joining us. Terry Coyne and Teresa Beasley I also saw, who are board members of Village Capital, which is our lending intermediary. So thank you for joining us, to the board members. Do want to say Paul Clark, our board chair, couldn't come at the last minute, but he's been my partner over the last 2 years in rethinking community development and Neighborhood Progress's role in community development. And I'm deeply grateful to Paul and to PNC for their great support. When I got here, we had just come out of a really terrible moment. You all know that. It was called the Great Recession. It devastated our neighborhoods. As you know, we were terrible victims of the foreclosure crisis, and the work of Cleveland's community development corporations that had been going on for decades, in many cases, was quickly undone. So we know that we needed to think about how we save the best from the past, but how we might go forward boldly to rethink community development, to build on our incredible assets, and to come out strongly from what we had suffered. We asked the Mandel School at Case Western Reserve to do a report, and they interviewed many of you in the room and took SurveyMonkey results from many of you in the room and did focus groups to get your ideas on where we should go and what community development should look like. And we're grateful to Mark Chupp, who's here with us today, and Mark Joseph as well, for their leadership on the report, which was incredibly useful in helping us to rethink community development and community development in Cleveland specifically. You'll see some of the results of that study here today. I also want to take a moment to thank the remarkable staff of Neighborhood Progress. Some of them have been with us the full 20-something years that the organization has existed, and they work hard, very hard every day. to do great things. And I've said to them, they keep telling me they're working hard, and I keep telling them this is the new normal, and that we're all going to have to work hard to get great results. And they are very much living up to those expectations. So thank you to all the staff for being here today and for doing the great work you do. I'll talk a little bit about our background and a little bit about how we're thinking about community development going forward today. The background is really something that we're very proud of, and every member of the community development community that's here today should be very proud of our past successes. Neighborhood Progress itself has provided $26 million in core operating support to community development corporations. Our development intermediary has developed over 600 units of housing and 1 million square feet of commercial space worth over $187 million in Cleveland neighborhoods. So that's over some 20-something years that New Village has done that. So it's a record we're very proud of, and you'll hear a little bit about our current projects today. Our lending subsidiary, which is called Village Capital, which I mentioned, has provided $65 million of loans to urban real estate projects around our neighborhoods. Those projects are valued at $828 million. So if you add that up, you can see that we're talking about billions of dollars of investment in Cleveland's neighborhoods. We've got some great things to show for it, and the future is bright. One of the reasons we're excited about the future is because we know where we make good investments, we get good results. I apologize for the graph, but what it shows is that our property values, which is one of the measures we've used for our work, were increasing. And they were increasing more in the city of Cleveland than in other places. Those are the bottom lines. The property values in Cleveland, particularly on the east side, have started from a lower benchmark. But what's most exciting to us is the 9 neighborhoods where we're currently making an investment, a large investment, are reflected in the yellow line. And you see on that place that the yellow line declined the least of all those lines on the chart and is recovering most quickly. So not all the lines are recovering as of 2011. I believe that they are now. But the 9 neighborhoods where we are making an investment through their hard work and as a result of this investment are doing magnificent things. And we're very excited about that. We're very proud of the work that they're doing and that we're able to support. And I'm quite sure that that line will continue upward, I believe, at an even greater pace than you see in this chart. So we believe that though the foreclosure crisis did hurt us a lot, that we are recovering from it, that we can continue to recover from it. It won't be easy, that we have many, many scars which we'll need to deal with, but that there is a lot of hope for Cleveland's neighborhoods. And when we went through our strategic planning process that was mentioned, we wanted to be as clear as possible about what work we would do and how we would be doing it. And we went through a lot of process. So some of the participants have called it lengthy, one called it painful, but we thought it was fruitful and involved a lot of stakeholders, and we're really very proud of it. We're grateful to former Mayor Michael White, who led the process, and to India Pierce Lee and Bob Jaquay from our 3 primary funders. Cleveland Foundation, the George Gund Foundation, and the Mandel Foundation have funded us every year since the beginning. They are the founders as well as the funders. It's a remarkable record of support. Both Cleveland and Gund give multi-million-dollar grants, and we're deeply grateful to them, as well as to Enterprise, St. Luke's, and our other funders. Many of the banks in the room have also participated in supporting us, so that goes to make our work possible. We were grateful to Michael White in the remarkably dynamic work he did in leading us through the strategic plan, but also to all our funders who provide the dollars that are so essential to making this work possible. Our work is to foster communities of choice and opportunity throughout Cleveland. We chose each one of those words carefully and with a lot of debate. And we think that they reflect that debate and those really great minds who are in the room. And we chose the word foster because we do most of our work through community development corporations, and many of you are in the room today. It is not possible for us to do neighborhood level work in most cases only through a community development corporation which is of, by, and for the neighborhood. It's of, by, and for the neighborhood. Can we get good results in Cleveland neighborhoods? So those CDCs, those community development corporations that are linked in those ways to their neighborhoods are doing remarkable things. And only through strong community development corporations can neighborhood progress be successful. We see a Cleveland that filled with neighborhoods, where all our neighborhoods are attractive, vibrant communities, where people from all incomes, races, and generations thrive, prosper, and choose to live, learn, work, invest, and play. We're interested in encouraging you to come to invest, to come live, to come shop, to come recreate every part of your work, every part of your life. We think we have great things to offer. Our strategic plan will take us through the next 4 years, but really the thinking that went on, we believe, is for the next generation of community development in Cleveland. So our grants from Cleveland and Gund have lasted 3 years, and we're, again, grateful for that multi-year support. But really, we took this strategic planning process to think about a generation. What will community development look like so that we can sustain our efforts and continue to get great results? We thought a lot about our guiding principles, and the first is that we start with cities and neighborhoods. It is about place, and we know that the basis of civilization is the city, and not for us the hollowed out city, the donut hole where people continue to move to the suburbs. We live in a really remarkable time where we are witnessing an inversion. So the grandchildren and great-grandchildren of people who left our neighborhoods now want to live in urban walkable neighborhoods. And it's our job together, our job, to make sure that those neighborhoods are welcoming, that there are places to live that are safe, that are beautiful, where people can put their children into quality schools. So the idea of the city and the neighborhood is central to our work. We know that a hollowed out city results in the poorest people being left behind, and we have witnessed that in too many cases. Our second value or guiding principle is about equity. We know that when people leave the city, that too often, and they're in neighborhoods, the people who don't have the wherewithal to leave will be left, or the seniors who have an emotional attachment will stay, but that services will decline, and we cannot let that happen, and we're here to make sure that it doesn't happen. So we believe deeply in equity for services and schools. We know that everyone does better when there's a reasonably fair sharing of resources, so that's important to us. As I mentioned, resident participation is a key. So no community development corporation can be successful without a board made up of stakeholders, community residents who live there, who care about it. We see community development not as charity, which is deeply important, but as engagement and empowerment. So charity is a handout, but community development is an effort of the people to improve their neighborhood and to make a difference in their own lives. And that's what we're here for, and that's what we support. Again, our next value is high-capacity community development corporations. We can't do this work without you. Broad-based collaboration and partnerships, again, and you're a testament to that. Transparent and informed decision-making. We were told in the Mandel School report that we needed to do better in being transparent and in communicating. Stable, healthy housing is a key and a basis for a good life in the neighborhoods. We need to continue our work in urban greening. Education, as mentioned, is a key element to community building, and everyone in every neighborhood deserves accessibility to quality retail, services, recreation, employment, and transit options. There's been a conversation over many years about whether community development should be people or place. And we believe that community development should be people and place. It needs to be both. It needs to be an investment in placemaking to attract people to Cleveland's neighborhoods. And we see that going on so vibrantly in Ohio City and in Detroit Shoreway and in Tremont. And we know downtown there's actually a shortage of available housing. We see it now happening on the east side too, and you'll continue to see great things there. So we know attracting and retaining population is really key to our work. But it's not enough. We know we must make an investment in people as well. And that in neighborhoods where we make an investment in people, helping them to build wealth, ensuring that they have high-quality schools, ensuring that they have access to quality work, that will make a community of choice and opportunity. And that's our mission, to foster communities of choice and opportunity throughout Cleveland. We believe to get these neighborhoods, we need to have strong CDCs, as I've mentioned, strong community development corporations. And the foundation you see in this graph is the work of building a strong system, strengthening our community development corporations so that they can do great work. We have four main goals. The first is about an aligned system, which is results-oriented and achieves great things in Cleveland neighborhoods. We think we've got the basis for it, and we won't rest on our laurels in moving the system forward. The second is about placemaking. More Clevelanders are living in vibrant neighborhoods. That means more vibrant neighborhoods and more people living in them. So it's our goal to stabilize Cleveland's population. We're saying that. We believe it can happen. If you look around the country, many cities on the coast are growing. And even, we'll use Pittsburgh as a model, has stopped the decline of population and is starting to grow. And we believe we can do this as well. And this is our goal, to stabilize population and then begin to inch it up. And we're prepared to do that through our network. Our next goal is about opportunities. Again, the people who live in Cleveland neighborhoods are not left behind. As I said, that they have access to schools and to work. We've got the jobs here. We have the biggest job centers in the state. Two of the three biggest job centers in the state are in the borders of the city of Cleveland. That's downtown Cleveland and University Circle. And they're remarkable assets, and we need to connect them to the people who live in the neighborhoods. And neighborhood leadership neighborhood progress will be a leader and will demonstrate leadership. And we won't be afraid of taking on the hard issues, dealing with the politics that are there and that are not so easy, but working through partners and convening and being entrepreneurial is part of our role. Our strategic plan, I just wanted to be very clear, we're very intentional about what we can do and what we can't do. So we have 4 goals, which are in front of you. We have 20 strategies, which aren't in front of you, and 88 tactics, which we'll be happy to share. It's a 35-page document, which is on our website, and we're thrilled to share it. Each one of those tactics identifies our precise role, our partners, and everyone in the room is listed there, what measures we're going to use, what timelines. And for each of these tactics, we identify our role as a leader, the leader, a support partner, or a participant. So when we go into areas that we mentioned, like schools, we go in with great humility. We don't expect to operate schools. We don't know how to run a good school. But there are people in the city of Cleveland who know how to get great results from urban kids. We've got some great schools in Cleveland schools, and we've got some great charter and private schools. So we know we need to build on those assets. And we want to reach out our hand and to be a support partner and a participant in great things they're doing. Our agenda regarding place will not stop, and we will enhance it. We're very excited this week to announce the Slavic Village Reclamation Project. This is really the brainchild of a very, very creative guy named Robert Klein, who is the founder of an organization called Safeguard, and which works with banks across the country to maintain properties. And through an investment that he is making, along with Forest City Enterprises, we're working closely with Slavic Village. So we have 2 for-profit partners, which we're very thrilled about, who are making an investment in one of Cleveland's hardest-hit neighborhoods and saying that this neighborhood has a great future, and we can find a model if we all work together, public and private, city, county land bank, community development corporation, builders, everyone. If we all come together, we can rehab houses in a way that is affordable for people to rent and own. And we're very excited about this project. And it involves 440 acres, over 2,000 properties. And we believe that you're going to see a remarkable difference in that neighborhood beginning 6 and 9 and 12 months from now. And we're very grateful to all the partners and excited about that project. We know that it's not just about real estate, though. There are over 3,500 acres of vacant land in the city of Cleveland. So reimagining these empty spaces and using them innovatively is a key piece of the future. Through our partnership with the city, we've received over $1.5 million and done so far 124 different land reuse parcels involving approximately 200 parcels. These include side yard expansions, pocket parks, gardens, vineyards in the city of Cleveland, market gardens and orchards, and many more things. We're very thrilled about this work. It's already received awards. We know that it needs to go to scale. And through projects like the Urban Agricultural Innovation Zone, which the Burton Belcar Development Corporation is doing, transforming 28 acres in the Forgotten Triangle, through connecting vacant land with local food, helping people to have access to healthy food in the neighborhoods, we know that we can do great things, and we're very excited about our start. We know, as I said, that we need to make an investment in people as well. And as I've mentioned, education is a key piece. We're working on St. Luke's Hospital in a way that we think is very innovative. We took possession of St. Luke's Hospital in 2006. It had closed in 1999. For those of you who understand what this means, over 800,000 square feet. It was badly, badly vandalized, unfortunately, before we took possession. Every bit of wire, every radiator had been pulled down the stairs, breaking every tread in that building. The clock on the cupola, they had climbed up to take off the brass arms of the clock. So a terribly damaged gem, but now part of an exciting redevelopment in the Buckeye neighborhood, which includes over $115 million of investments, which you can see in that half-mile radius. Now we have left 350,000 square feet of space. Two-thirds of it is being used for low-income senior housing. That work is completed and mostly inhabited. But the third wing is what we're most excited about. We are working with the Boys and Girls Club, a clinic, the Center for Families and Children, a number of nonprofits, but most excitingly, the intergenerational school to move into the third phase. In the meantime, we've already won 2 national awards for historic rehab, and we invite you to come visit us in this beautiful LEED certified building. And you can see the picture of it. There's construction going on every day very rapidly to get the intergenerational school in time. The intergenerational school is, by the ratings, the best charter school in the state. They haven't closed the achievement gap. They've reversed it, with children who are over 70% of them eligible for free and reduced lunch, and 80% children of color. They're getting better results than kids on average in the state. So they are doing better than schools. I was told yesterday the breakthrough schools, of which they're part, have outperformed Orange in the most recent numbers. So I'm stealing their thunder a little bit. Yes, it's very exciting. The intergenerational school is the jewel in the crown of breakthrough, and it's about 250 students K through 8, and they're getting great results through working with senior mentors, where the mentors also gain. So they're coming together in that building. 140 seniors that we already have living in the building will be able to work with the students on an everyday basis. We're very excited. If you look at the results, you can't argue with those results. You may not be able to see them, but you can't argue with them. What I want you to see on that chart is that in every measurement, Intergenerational school, which are the blue lines, does better than state averages, so that's the green lines, and much better than the 7 closest public schools, showing we can get great results with urban kids where we do the right thing. We're so excited to partner with Intergenerational School. It will be opening this summer. We are rushing construction to get them into that building, and really very excited about that partnership. We know that in addition to education, we need to ensure that people in Cleveland's neighborhoods have opportunities for wealth. Traditionally, most Americans have an opportunity for wealth through home ownership. For most people, your wealth is in the equity you have in the house. In getting a mortgage and paying it over years, you begin to accumulate wealth, which you can use as you age. Unfortunately, in too many of Cleveland's neighborhoods, those assumptions are no longer true. There are some neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland where a house actually has almost no value or literally none, or where there's not a reasonable expectation that that house will increase in value. And many of our poor, not surprisingly, many of our poorest residents are the ones with the least wealth left in their houses. So we know providing people opportunities for wealth through housing, but through other tools as well, is a key part of the future. And we've adjusted our work to be supportive of this. We're now working with the Key Bank Financial Education Center, which has helped over 16,000 people since 2004, providing one-on-one financial counseling. We're now working in the Glenville neighborhood with the partnership of the Famicos organization to work with renters there in low-income units to help them to develop a financial future and to use the tools that are out there to support them in making good decisions. There's been a speaker at the City Club talking about the poverty industry. The poverty industry has too many footholds in the city of Cleveland, and we need to ensure that people have access to banks and legitimate banking institutions and credit unions, and are not losing their money. Their money is not being taken out of the neighborhoods by those who will do that, the check cashers and others. So we know that wealth building is a key piece. Some of you may know that as we think about our future, we're looking to break down boundaries and to work with old partners in new ways. We're very excited about a merger exploration that is going on now with Cleveland Neighborhood Development Coalition and Live Cleveland, 2 organizations with really great paths and we believe whose missions overlap with our mission as we think about fostering communities of choice and opportunity. And we're really wanting to salute the courage of those organizations for their willingness to have this conversation about how we can work together to deliver the strongest effort for community development possible in the future. And we believe that together we can do more than we can do separately. So stay tuned, and thank you to all those in the room who are participating in that process. I'm going to end with a really exciting program that most of you in the room are partners on this. In addition to Neighborhood Progress, we're working closely with the City of Cleveland with Enterprise Community Partners, Ohio Housing Finance Agency, the National Equity Fund. Cleveland Housing Network is really, this is their program equally with ours, and Neighborhood Housing Services of Cleveland is a key partner. And this is to save really a great effort, and it's quite complex, but there are approximately almost 1,000 units of affordable housing through the low-income housing tax credit, where they were managed in such a way that the promise that was made to people at the beginning that if they pay rent, they could ultimately become owners, that promise could not be fulfilled. And we felt that that wasn't fair to them. So we brought a lot of people together and deep financial commitments from the city and Ohio Housing Finance Agency to put together this effort to ensure, to buy the notes from the banks, so the banks have been partners here as well, to buy the notes from the bank, to transfer the management of these partnerships, and to work to ensure that those people who were told if they paid rent and they were responsible citizens, that they could buy those houses. I'm thrilled today to welcome Sherry Mack. Sherry, if you'll stand up. Sherry Mack is one of these recent purchasers, so we're really... These are real people like Sherry and her family who have made an investment, and now we can deliver on that promise of home ownership. And we will continue to work toward delivering on the investment of providing them strong, safe neighborhoods where they and their families can thrive. And we're really grateful to all of you who are working with us on this effort and excited about the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joel. Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we are listening to a special program featuring Joel Ratner, President and CEO of Neighborhood Progress. We will return to our speaker momentarily for our traditional City Club questions. Please form your question now, and remember to be brief and to the point. Next Wednesday, March 13th, the City Club hosts the annual State of the City address with the Honorable Frank G. Jackson, Mayor of the City of Cleveland. Friday, March 22nd, the City Club welcomes Lanny Davis. He's commentator for The Hill. He's also referred to as a consummate Washington insider, having been a senior official in both the Clinton and Bush administrations. And he's going to be talking about why Washington is so dysfunctional. Please visit our website, cityclub.org, for information about upcoming programs or to listen to a podcast of any of our past programs. You can also follow the City Club on Twitter under the handle @TheCityClub, or learn more about our programs on our Facebook page. We welcome guests today at tables hosted by Bostwick Design Partnership. I'd like to pause for a moment. Robert Bostwick is here, and he was the architect when we renovated the City Club. It's been 13 years. The space still looks beautiful, and it was Robert was the lead architect on that project. Thank you. It's always nice to see you here, but particularly with all these people here that know the fine work you do. We also have tables from Cleveland Housing Network, Detroit Shoreway Community Development Organization, Famicos Foundation Neighborhoods Housing Services, and Neighborhood Progress, Inc. Thank you all for your support. And today we welcome students from John Adams and Horizon Science Academy. Student participation, please stand. Thank you. Will the students please stand? There, thank you. The audience got in front with the applause, but students please stand and be recognized. Thank you. And now we would like to return to our speaker for our traditional City Club question and answer period. We welcome questions from everyone, including guests. Holding the microphones today are Program Director Carrie Miller and Mike Cromoli, Marketing and Development Associate. First question, please.
Presentation today. How do you balance between targeting the resources of MPI and your partners into the various neighborhoods against the phenomenon of picking winners and losers? And what's your thought process on that?
It's a great question. The Mandel School report suggested that we needed to rebalance. We, as I mentioned, fund 9 community development corporations now out of approximately 20 or 25 in the city, depending on how you count them, in Cleveland neighborhoods. And our funders, as I said, have encouraged us to continue to make a strategic investment. And we know now that we need to balance that with services we can provide to all community development corporations. I believe we need to work toward the community development system that Cleveland needs and deserves. So that's a strong community development corporation in every neighborhood that is aligned with the city council person, that is supported by the residents of the community. If we can get that, we can get great results in all our neighborhoods. We do believe that by focusing our money, we can get the best results. So the idea that, unfortunately, we wish we had more money. Who doesn't, right? But with the money we have, we want to use it as strategically as possible. We will, going forward, have as open and transparent a process to select funding CDCs that are funded as we can possibly develop. where all the CDCs get to see each other would be my idea, and where there's a broad participation amongst the funders and the stakeholders. So really bringing everyone to the table to think about how we get the most bang for our buck. That's our job, to deliver the most bang for our buck. One of the reasons, briefly, that the potential merger with Cleveland Neighborhood Development Coalition is so appealing to us is because of their ability excuse me, to work with all of the CDCs and their great network of CDCs across the city. So we know that we need to do more in terms of providing capacity building services and maybe even capacity building grants and supporting the development of strong CDCs in every neighborhood.
Wow, great presentation. Congratulations, a pretty broad perspective in looking at our city. A couple of quick questions. One is with the far-reaching reimagining and the great work you're doing there, can you talk about how demolition plays a role in that? And secondly, again, in the broader context, how do you see some of the bigger players, like our utility companies who have a built-out infrastructure, our electric companies, and most importantly, the sewer district, who's now making a significant infrastructure improvement?
Thank you. So I perhaps gave a short shrift to the County Land Bank, who is one of our closest partners and a key piece to the success of our work. Only through demolishing thousands of houses, it's a painful process, but we know that in the years to come we need to demolish thousands of houses. We're hoping that we can also rehab thousands of houses, but we know that the money from the land bank and recently from a settlement, the robo-signing settlement, and other sources, that we need to continue to tear down housing where there is no longer a demand for it. We know that we need to be as strategic as possible so that we can save houses that can be saved. The Slavic Village Reclamation Project is an example of that, where we can make investments at the same time as we take down housing that doesn't have a future. But the County Land Bank and the city as well are our close partners in pushing for an effort that is as strategic as possible, working with City Council and others to get good results that make sense for the city. The utilities are really key. Right now, the most promise is around the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, which has increased our rates so that they can do some really remarkable projects to keep to separate the sewer systems and keep Lake Erie clean, which is really important for the city of Cleveland, so that there's no outflow of the bad water into Lake Erie. But as they do this, we know that there are huge opportunities for greening our city. And we're looking to the sewer district to be a strong partner as we layer what they're doing with what we're doing. So support for urban agricultural projects which contribute to separating the sewer systems, actually allowing rainwater to go into the earth so that it goes into the storm sewer and not into the waste sewer. Is really important. So it's very complex. It's a multi-billion-dollar effort by the sewer district, and we look forward to their continued and growing partnership. Land Studio is also a very important partner in this work. So we can get great results in terms of greening our neighborhoods with a strong effort of all these groups.
Joel, terrific presentation and terrific strategic plan. As you know, the kind of iron triangle of moving forward strategically is program capacity and funding. And from what I've read and from what I know of you, you have got the funding and programming, and it's extremely aspirational, and we're very proud of you. My question focuses on capacity and capacity building over the next 4 years. You have a four-year strategic plan, or 4 years left in it. And I'd like to ask you to drill down a little bit and be more specific as to how you're going to specifically build capacity to reach the aspirations you've set forth.
It's a great question. We need not to be afraid of moving the system forward in all elements of it. So the capacity building, the support for CDCs is the piece we like to talk about. But we also know that we need a smaller number of more effective community development corporations. So there is a right-sizing agenda, and we're not going to get to where we need to be without making some difficult decisions. So we, with the partnership of the city and the city council, know that we will need to make some hard choices. And we're going to need to have some conversations that won't always be pleasant about how we get community development corporations to the right scale. So I mentioned that every community development corporation must have that integral connection to the people who live in the neighborhood. So it can't be too big. Neighborhood Progress can't do the work without strong community development corporations. But it's clear to us that it's not sustainable to have a community development corporation and to build a lot of capacity for a neighborhood of 7,000 people. And there just aren't resources as we see community development block grant funding from the federal government to the city continue to get cut with no expectation that that line will change anytime soon. We know that we need to get smarter and more efficient and pushing hard in that direction is part of our work. So where it won't be easy, but we need not to shy away from it and move toward that system through right-sizing, through capacity building, through shared services. What can we do together through that kind of alignment, building that CDC system? And we have a great start because we have a great system now, but not resting on our laurels and pushing forward so that our system gets ever stronger is an important piece of the work.
Hey, Joel, could you describe for us what your current relationship is with the healthcare providers in our community, and then what your anticipation might be as you look forward as to what you'd like to do with the healthcare partners? Because as we all know, that's a pretty big business right now in Northeast Ohio and in urban Cleveland.
Yes, so I would say we have our industry has a good relationship, but that there's a lot of room for growth. So through partnerships, for example, through UCI, which has a deep relationship with university hospitals, of course, through the Cleveland Clinic, through Metro, who is represented today, through the Sisters of Charity, we know that the future of Cleveland is largely about leveraging these healthcare institutions. They are by far, when you add them together, by far the biggest employers. Metro being the biggest employer on the west side and Cleveland Clinic obviously on the east side. And they're surrounded by neighborhoods, particularly on the east side, that need a lot of support. But what we know they need is a much stronger connection. So we, particularly on the east side, have seen too strong a wall, and it's an invisible wall, around some of these institutions, which leads to a disconnect from the neighborhood. So it's social connections, and groups like Neighborhood Connections are working on that now. Groups like UCI are committed to breaking down those walls. But we have a lot more work to do. We believe that those institutions will benefit from a greater connection to the neighborhood. We believe certainly that those neighborhoods will benefit from a stronger connection. So we need to acknowledge that that the trust needs to be built in the years to come, and concurrently programming and efforts to better connect the neighborhoods with those healthcare institutions for everybody's benefit.
Michael Brown from Horizon Science Academy. Would more schools and school programs, would that make the progress go up or down? That's my question.
We believe in strong school partners, whether it's public schools, charter schools, or private schools. And we believe every child in the city of Cleveland should have access to a quality school. We believe that we're going in the right direction. We need to continue to push in this direction. In neighborhoods where there are no good schools, and that describes too many of our neighborhoods, we need to be honest, people who have the wherewithal will leave, or they'll put their children in other schools, and that does not lead to a healthy neighborhood. So I don't know what the precise number is, but I know that we need more better schools. And Eric Gordon is a great partner. He knows this too, that there are too many schools in the city of Cleveland that are not succeeding. And we know also we can get great results with those kids. That's what he's proven through his good schools, and other partners, Urban Community and Breakthrough, are proving through their high-quality schools. So we need not to accept low-quality education in any of our neighborhoods. And this is a part of the work we need to acknowledge. Again, we're not educators, and we don't think we should be. But we know that there are partners that we want to work with to get more good schools, right? I don't know what the total number of schools is, but I know we need every school in the city of Cleveland to be a good school that's delivering on the promise of education for our kids.
Joel, going a little beyond your own borders for a minute and not asking you to necessarily speak for the county exec and the county council, and notwithstanding what you said about the county land bank and their great work on some of the dentistry that needs to be done in and around with just rotten homes. All that said, there is a problem that is well beyond the Cleveland borders. Obviously, everybody knows this, but take any first-ring suburb, be it East Cleveland, be it Garfield, be it Mayfield, and there's a concern that there's a lack of an NPI2, a next ring of influence. How would you, maybe just putting on your advisor hat, advise the county beyond the county land bank to address, from a capacity building standpoint, some of the communities in need in the first-ring suburbs?
It's a great question, because we know that many of the suburbs you mentioned now have hundreds of vacant homes. And we know that we're connected, because if we ignore urban problems, we'll just send them out to the suburbs, and that's what we've done. We've sent them to the inner ring suburbs, and without the capacity really to deal with them. So we have in Cleveland a great partnership through all the people in the room to deal with it. One of the ways we've responded is by setting up Village Capital, again, our lending intermediary, which manages about $25 million of loans. We've set them up to consider the possibility of making loans for urban real estate projects in inner ring suburbs, and we're working toward raising capital so that we can be supportive. And for this lending piece, it makes sense to have a larger geography. So on the core work of Neighborhood Progress, we're focused on the neighborhoods in the city of Cleveland. But for our lending efforts, because it consists of loans and you want to have a large enough portfolio of loans, we want to be supportive of what they're doing. We know that the incredible balkanization of our county, however many cities and suburbs there are over 50, is a problem. And again, it's something we need to be honest about, and the county executive needs to be bold about, and we need to have the conversations, just as we're having, about CDCs, and merging our system and going towards shared services and capacity building. I would suggest they need a similar agenda of right-sizing and sharing services, and yes, even right-sizing for the cities around the county.
Hello. I understand the brick and mortar projects are beautiful things that we need for our community to grow. But with youth involvement is very, much so needed. What programs do you plan to put in place? What do you already have in place? And make sure that you follow up on them to make sure that they're actually being successful.
It's a great question, and we know that we need to do more to support youth development through partnerships, because again, this is not something where we have great experience. I'll talk a little bit about the St. Luke's project on that one. What we have there, we're putting in not just the highest rated charter school in the state, but through the Center for Families and Children, high rated, a very strong early childhood effort. So we will connect the early childhood through the K through 8. We'll also have after-school programming through the Boys and Girls Club there. So the Boys and Girls has already signed a lease, will be a tenant in the building, will serve not just the students of the intergenerational school, but serve the students of the next door Harvey Rice School and all the students of the neighborhood. And so we believe that the gym and the cafeteria and the auditorium will start in the morning as a place for the seniors to exercise before school opens. It'll become the gym for the kids. It'll become the place they can have lunch. They'll use it as the gym after school. The Boys and Girls Club will use it. In the evening, the seniors can come back in. It'll be open to the community. That's the vision we have for community development, where every piece connects. we know there's a lot more work to do for supporting after-school work and to engage youth in healthy, productive ways. It fits with our integration with education. Again, we want to work with people like you and others who are doing great things investing in youth in our neighborhoods.
Ratner, you talked about aligning the system and making things a little bit more right-sized. We know that after the last census that we have lost population in this community, and we know where we've lost it. Can you talk a little bit more specifically about what that's going to mean for the individual neighborhoods, CDCs, and we know we're losing 2 council people, and if we're aligning the CDCs to the council, what all that might look like?
The problem is it's very messy, so it looks different in every part of our city. And that's because some of our neighborhoods actually have stabilized and are growing now. So it looks very different in one of those neighborhoods than it does in a neighborhood that's losing population very dramatically. So as you mentioned, we'll be losing 2 council seats. We need to make sure that we take advantage of this moment to move the community development system forward, so that again we move the system toward greater efficiencies and alignment. We believe, as I said, that we can stabilize the population between 2010 and 2020 census, and that's our goal, to move toward that. It will mean doing a much better job of connecting University Circle to the neighborhoods around it, a continued focus on downtown in the near west side, and a continued effort to stabilize and grow our neighborhoods in thoughtful, creative ways, and that's what we're about.
Joel, do you think that there is a conflict or a challenge between NPI's role as a partner and supporter of the city of Cleveland in various development projects, and your role in conjunction with the neighborhoods and the CDCs to encourage or goad the city of Cleveland into delivery of services? And how do you meet those conflicts?
No conflicts. Every day we're faced by the challenges of working with partners who, in the for-profit world, who are sometimes moving with us and sometimes not. We know in particular that as banks move away from bricks and mortar, we're going to be faced with one of these conflicts, right? So because we're all doing more banking online, it's not clear that we're going to see as many bank branches in our neighborhoods as in the past. So I talked about getting access to bank branches, but the movement of that industry is not clear that their support, that's the direction they're going. And that's something which we can influence, but only on the edges, right? So we need to be very thoughtful about that and very proactive, working with the city and our private partners is interesting every day, and what's exciting about this work.
Hi, I want to go back to a comment that you made about community development of and by and for the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Lessons from international development demonstrates there's a critical component of residents sometimes reconstructing their lens about what's possible, and also community development workers looking at success differently. So my question is, how do you measure success when the work is actually shifting perceptions? So that goes beyond the tangible homes that are built, the reading scores, but at that level.
I believe that really all of this is about shifting perceptions, and this is all really about psychology, because what makes neighborhoods strong is people wanting to live there. What makes people want to live there? They think it's safe and that they can have a good life there. So that's what's in their minds, and how do we influence what's in their minds so they'll want to be there? So to me, it's very indirect, but ultimately, housing values and population are a reflection of what people are thinking, because we know that people will leave neighborhoods where they don't feel that they can have a quality life. So it's very powerful. People will move with their feet, will vote with their feet on what they think about neighborhoods. So there's nothing more important in our work than neighborhood confidence, and again, that can only, and you can't fool people. That's what I want to say. They know if their neighborhood's safe. You can't, there's no communications effort that's going to make them feel safe if they're not. And so they need to feel safe. And they need to have quality schools, because ultimately they'll know if they don't. And so it's about doing all these pieces, and then if we put it all together, we get good results. And we make people believe in their neighborhoods.
Today at the City Club of Cleveland, we have been listening to a special program featuring Joel Ratner, President and CEO of Neighborhood Progress, Inc. Thank you, Mr. Ratner. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. This program is now adjourned.